Yo, Scar Dreamer, I've got to start remembering to record from the beginning of stuff, but oh well. I'll just think about it afterwards. Right now, I got Luna references. Obviously, she's not going to be a stick figure, don't worry. But this is just for the motion capture, and I am currently undoing the mistake of making them kind of hard to tell who is who by color coding the stick figures. And Luna is very much green themed, being nature oriented. Hi. Da, 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 da. There we go. It's just a very quick trick archery shot. And when I watched it, it was too quick on ones, so put it into twos. Still kind of quick, still kind of hard to see what's happening, but it is there this time. There's also the issue of a storage issue, couldn't record more. Took me a sec. Tweep. Okay. Let's watch this through. There's also like a really long read-in annoying me for the music. Damn it. Sorry about the ad. Problem with flip a clip. Bye, Dad. Love you. Alright. There we go. Where's the music? Oh, damn it. Did I still do it off of the music? Weird shit. I forget how to pause the... No? Okay. Alright. Now I can turn it up a little bit better and see what's going on. Alright, it is on time. Okay, good. So as you can see, I can obviously make it go a little bit slower once I get there. Although the music's gonna be a little... The only thing maybe brown? Yeah, I'm gonna make, when I draw the brilliant, I'm gonna make it brown. Okay. So yeah, there's that. That's most likely gonna go and add, because I'm gonna go ahead and look at some of the other references I've got. Okay. You can see that they're labeled. Or da 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 da. And they're intermixed between stuff like that I'm just basically learning as art and animation. That's why we got box turnaround reference. Da da da. Please ignore that crappy ass turnaround. Well, no, show the mistakes. Show the mistakes. I'm very briefly gonna show this nonsense. Mostly this was how poltergeists formed was something that was an issue. So this was me attempting to show what it looked like. And obviously, you know, an attempt at turning a person around. Looks kind of terrible. Boom, boom. Oh, I skipped right past what I actually needed. Damn it. Alright. I've still got to go ahead and basically look for the right poses that I want for Rose. Luna was actually surprisingly easy. It's just the matter of finding out. And I tried to put more than one video in this reference. It doesn't like that idea. So I'm gonna go ahead and create another one. So Luna reference 2, I guess. 1080. And I don't know how fast I'm gonna need. He moves pretty fast, the guy that I'm gonna use for reference. So let's keep it at 12 instead of like 24, I think. Because even in videos that are like live action, they when it uploads, it actually breaks the frames down so that it seems like even though you know there's a movement there, there's sometimes when they're moving really quick, less frames. You might see what I mean depending on which one, but yeah. I found one dude who's a really good reference, and I really hope I was recording that whole time. I'm not sure I didn't have that paused. Alright, let's see. It would be... Oh, fuck. Of course it's right in the pause recording area. Fuck. Okay, good. Add video. Oh, fuck. Collections, would it be in downloads? How do I do this again? Because I had to clear out my stupid I had to clear out my storage because it wouldn't let me record shit. But now, alright, I saved it to OneDrive, so it should be there. Okay, found them. Now, can I find a way to add video, collections, browsing, ideally OneDrive. Okay, or somewhere. Maybe. I know YouTube is one file. Now where's Okay, wait, that's promising. Here we go. Okay. Well, fudge, I don't know where... Okay, there's the labels. Found them. Jeez. Alright. As cool as the flowers are, that's more for a transformation. Actually, I want that early on, so I'll go ahead for that one. So I'm gonna select this. And this guy is pretty much the only one I've seen move in the way that I want Luna to move, is why I'm using him as a reference. Otherwise, I'd prefer to meet a girl. And I did find a girl who did trick archery, but the problem is that she moves more like I want Rose to move. I've got a couple of tricks, and that's actually the one that I had uploaded before. That one trick shot I did a second ago. That I got from her, but like genuinely, she very much moves in a more showy way than a combat way is the problem. Whereas this guy tends to test actual trick shots in multiple medias, and as a result, since they're usually very combat focused, moves a little bit better. I'd really prefer it be a woman, but you get what you get. Unfortunately, this is the reality of using something free, like Clip a Clip, so I will go ahead and pause this for y'all's ad, but you do have to watch ads to get some of the features, which is fine, it's better than paying. So I'll go ahead and pause so that I can watch the ad. Y'all don't talk. Alright, I'm only showing this so that if you don't have something like this, you can see the reality. But currently it's in the middle of loading it up. But this is, and it tends to give a notification too. That was not what it sounded like, but it is currently loading the video of reference, and it treats it like a reference too, so it gives you an entire layer so that you can trace over it. Now obviously I can't trace the dude because very different muscle build, but yeah. Alright. And something I've noticed very quickly is that there's a lot of shots that aren't necessarily useful. Like, there's no reason for me to reference him talking like this. And same here. Yeah, so probably around here. We'll see. So I need to get rid of the first... I said I need to get rid of the first 68 frames. I hope that was recorded. Yeah, alright. The little 3 icons over there, unfortunately, is the area that I need to do a lot of shit, and is also the place where my recording app tends to make itself pause. If anyone from AZ Recorder is listening this, I'm just saying that this is a very consistent, annoying little thing. Okay, let's see. Because it's Sketchbook and many other places. Like, a lot of them like using the damn top rights. Okay. I can make it work, but it requires a lot of coordination. Alright. What was I looking at? Frames, viewer. 68. So hold these down. Boom. If I find this guy again, it's just my memory. If I find this guy again, I will recommend y'all to watch him. I just don't remember his TikTok name. And I did not think to get it when I downloaded these, which is stupid, but it'll probably show up in the, one of the screenshots, because, they do a little circular thing. Okay. Let's see. Nope. Okay. No, I was very dumb about that. But whatever. Drag this all the way. Okay. Nope. Okay, I should probably wait till I get to a shot before deciding. So the reason I'm looking at this for transformation is because it is a successful shot with a bunch of flowers, which is just very magical girl coded. Perfect. Okay, so really, I don't start until 1:41. Okay. And make sure I actually don't. Okay, yeah, that's a shot. The other beauty of this is that a lot of times you get details you wouldn't have gotten by just watching the video because it's splitting it into the frames. But yeah. So this is not just for the movement, it's also for the movement of the flowers because I kind of want that type of effect. What the fuck did I just do? Okay, not that big a deal. Sorry about the weird sound effect. Unfortunately, I put my stuff through a lot of wear and tear. So unfortunately, that was probably my screen protector fighting for its life against an air bubble. Which I can hear, so I have no idea how it sounds on the recording. It's probably much worse. But every once in a while, YouTubers will say that, and actually you can barely hear what they're talking about. So hopefully that's the case. I don't think it is, though. Dun, dun, dun. But I can hope. See, yeah. Even something like this can be a little tedious, but yeah, it's necessary. And we're not even actually to the animating process yet. I did kind of debate on doing the talking, only because how he's holding the bow might be helpful. But, yeah. And the beautiful part is that this happens to be extremely similar. I wouldn't say necessarily the same, but it is similar to how Teeth designed the bow for Luna. So, he's told me what those are called, but the things at the end that bend upwards are not nearly as sharp, though. Like, the angles aren't as sharp. Let me delete that. And I feel like I'm not getting through, so real quick, I'm going to clarify in the very easy place. I do believe it's in artificial media. Load up. There we go. So that is Luna's bow. Obviously, the cool part about magical girl effects is you can have effects that don't actually have to directly look like the thing, because obviously, this is not full of flowers. Although there is a flower, it doesn't look like a flower, it looks more like wheat or something. That's because that is something called red amaranth, which is a flower associated with Artemis. Okay, I think we're good. What? Or not. That's annoying. I don't know what the fuck I did, but... Oh, okay. Ah, I see what happened. Alright, that's all. It's just because it's the talking afterwards. I see now. In that case... Okay, that is so freaking cool. But like I said before, we get that, and that's pretty much it. No, okay, there's a few flowers fallen. Oh, thank you for doing a double shot at a distance. Thank you for that. Okay. Right around here-ish. There. 98 forward, I think. Unless he's gonna do it again. I'm pretty sure, yeah. 98 and 4. God damn it! Resume! Okay. Frames viewer. 98 and forward. Whew. Alright. And the best part, though, is, while I mentioned I'd prefer it be a girl and everything, it really shouldn't matter that much. Especially after studying anatomy. For the most part, things are way more similar than you think they are. Like, people act like there are firm rules between the two. And in reality, it's more like a scatter plot type pattern that things tend to be one way or another, but there's no actual hard and fast rule between genders, quite frankly, other than having breasts. That's pretty much it. The only other one I can think of is the really hard one to see, which is the tailbone. That one was weird. So that one is that the tailbone does not move on the guys and does on the girls. So that's why you get the weird, every once in a while, little TikTok challenges of somebody leaning against the wall and they're like, guys can't do this. There's some limitations down there. I always assumed it was the hips, but actually hips, it's kind of the same thing. Yes, there tends to be a wider opening, there tends to be wider hips, but in reality, you can have pretty feminine hips as a dude and masculine hips as a girl. It is a thing. It's not necessarily a healthy thing, as some of the things we're pointing out, but it is a thing. It's just, and when I say not healthy, I just mean, like, it's kind of a problem when you are actually trying to give birth. So that's what I mean by that, not just in general. Like, there are hips that women have that are like, hey, this is a danger. In that process specifically. The problem with learning anatomy that way is that they assume that you're learning to be a doctor, not learning to be an artist. So they will not let you learn things without learning sick stuff. Because trust me, I tried to avoid it. I'm like, I need to focus. Alright. Now that we finally got this down, I'm gonna show y'all. I should be green still, right? Nope. Color. Green. So that we remain Luna. Then I'm doing this now because I should have done it before. What? That's weird. Green. Oh, I see what happened. Kind of a dumb moment. Doing. There we go. Is because of the fact that I'm gonna basically copy and paste this onto my official animation, where needed, so I need to make sure that it's just faster to currently do it in that way. So already though, you see why I prefer a guy, because the first thing I need to do is draw the head, and heads on guys do tend to be in the same scatterplot way, tend to be much more like squarish shaped. But I'm gonna try to follow the line in more like a feminine way. So, not like that. I just meant to zoom in. Because that's not accurate to where the draw line is. That is. But we're not doing that. Alright. Now, we're gonna follow the line of action. So, line of action is like really hard to describe. And from what I can tell, we pretty much have only learned how to explain it through vibes, which is why you kind of speed practice the gesture drawing. But from what I can tell, it's somewhat dependent on the gravity, but it can flip-flop depending on the movement. The point is that it is the like stabilized line from your neck to your toes, ideally, where the movement is super clear. The movement or the stance is super clear. Often that's your weight of gravity, often it's where the gravity lifts off. And I think in this case it's actually where the gravity lifts off, because if I were doing the gravity, it would be a little bit too complicated of a line. Because he's got this is where his center of gravity is. Like, you can see that the foot here has way more weight on it. But you get the 3 line rolls that you have are straight lines, C curves, and S curves. You're supposed to only stick to those if you can. So, not even if you can't, you're really only supposed to stick to those. In this case, I do think there's a slight S. But it's so narrow that I'm not sure if it is. It might be straight. We're gonna find out. Yeah, it's definitely an S. A very narrow S, but it's an S. Then, there. Could definitely work with straight lines. Oy. Then you go here. Almost always, if you're gonna have one, you're probably gonna need a separate line from the knee downward. But if the knee's straight, it's often one line. There we go. I've noticed it's also really helpful to, counterintuitively, it's actually really helpful to do the shoulders last. Because, well, you can somewhat accurately guess where the shoulders is with some anatomy knowledge. At the same time, it's often a little bit disconnected because they're separate muscles. So it's just easier to do the whole arm first. You can see a lot more lines there. So, because if I tried to guess, I would probably make this a huge C based on the shoulders. I'm not sure that would translate well with the arms themselves. Right side, super sharp angle on the one in front of us. That one's easy. That is, if I can turn my canvas without drawing. This is why we do line work. Alright. And then a curve. And straight line, curve. You do not need to draw all fingers in there, because the point is only the movement, not the muscles. The little tiny things. Hold on, I need to make sure that's not important. That's a text message, could be important. Alright, yes, but I'm not gonna do kind of want to get that because there's a very strong grip. Ah. There. And then there is, let me go ahead and see what that looks like there. Oh, don't forget the shoulders. No. There we go. Ah. Yeah, see, it is not nearly as sharp of a C as I thought it was. Alright. Boom. Yeah. Oh, sorry, cat came up. I am gonna go ahead and change the color real quick so that I code the bow. So I'm wanting brown, probably orangish, reddish, yeah. Exactly. Want it a little bit brighter so it doesn't blend in too much. All right. And I am gonna add another layer because I want it underneath what I've drawn. So in case you don't know how layers work when you're watching this, as you can see, benefit is mostly that you can control what it overlaps. That don't worry too much. Alright, on the bright side, there's no ambiguity really with a bow. That is it's less ambiguous and more, can you do the line work for it? Because it is very clear where the curves here are. There we go. A little iffy there. Don't know if I really want to get nitpicky, but alright. And then I'm also going to go ahead and do the arrow. I know that there is a notch here, even if I can't necessarily see it. Sometimes when you're doing stuff like gesture work too anyway, especially if you're not drawing on the muscles, it's better to do stuff that you can't see, because if I, this is not a good pose. I'll show y'all a good pose if I find one. But like sometimes the muscle is behind the back, and in stick figure you would be able to see if they were that skinny, you know? Ooh. How do you test if your line work is up to par? Apparently try to trace a damn arrow. Ooh. This is why we practice line work daily, and yes, I'm clearly out of practice still. One day I will accept that I need to start the morning with line work. Okay, finally.
Who are you talking to?
I'm recording. There you go.
That's why you're so serious sounding.
I'm serious sounding? I'm just focused, I guess?
You're more serious than I've ever heard her.
I
Sorry,
see.
you got a bunch of food out here. Well, hello, Pepper.
Should I pause the recording for you to talk to Liza? No, it's okay.
I didn't even realize you were here. Yes.
Alright. I just, I figured you might want some privacy, Okay. Sorry, some cute pet moments, but, I really should make sure. Okay, good. It is still recording. Okay. The cool thing about, so I have onion skin on, which means it shows the previous frame. And as you can see, it's moved a little bit. The arrow and bow has moved a little bit. The bow barely, but it did move. And then he definitely has moved. Not his legs, but it looks like his arm that's holding the bow. Oh no, okay, the arm that's holding the bow and the arm that's holding the thing, but everything else is pretty much the same. So actually, you can pretty much trace everything except for his arms, it looks like. So that's what we're gonna do. As soon as I get the color back, I'm gonna color pick. There we go. Now it's the same exact color. And then we're literally gonna go ahead and attempt to trace. Again, even on tracing, line work is extremely helpful. It is my own lines and I'm having trouble. There we go. Although now that I think about it, wait, I might be overcomplicating it. Because if I copy this and then paste it here, that is the wrong one. Also, I just realized I somehow had an extra brown line here. Probably from zooming out. Go to the right layer. There you go. Copy and paste it here. Now, since we know that the arms are pretty much the only things that moved, we can actually lasso that and move it to where it needs to go. I wonder, I'm gonna attempt something real quick, but I don't think it'll work. But showing the ability of experimenting will always help quite a bit. Most likely the center of gravity is at the shoulders, so I'm gonna put that here. And what that does is it uses that as a joint and then moves it from there. Huh. Yeah, actually. Obviously there's a little bit that's off, because obviously you've got now the center line's changed. Which makes sense a little bit. But other than that, it's pretty accurate. Appears a little bit there. So we're gonna have to do some for sure. Not as much, we don't have to retrace the whole thing. But we're definitely gonna need to retrace this arm. It's mostly fine up here, but that's about it. And then I'll need to put the center line back where it can make a little bit more sense. And then, nope. There we go. Alright. It's a little hard to see with the onion skin, so I'm gonna undo that for a minute. Yep. Excuse me. Looks like I got a couple of leftover spots in a couple places. And then I also want to see what it looks like without that. Yeah, alright, all good. So without necessarily the bow, should be able to see a small movement. Not very much, but a small one. Yep, alright. And that's how you do that. Okay. Let's go back to the bow. Color now needs to be the previous color. Hey, how come you keep the freaking... Okay. Yo, you need to be you. Why are you not? Whatever. Fine, I will just color pick. Oh. That's why. I see it now. Okay. There we go. Alright, am I in the right layer? No, I'm not, so there we go. And to be fair, even though it's clear I need some practice, doing this itself is also practice in line work itself. If I don't freaking keep moving the damn canvas. Oh, hey, and also I do have a little bit with the shoulder here. Ooh, which I just realized I need to move. We'll come back to that. Because it looks like he lowered the shoulder here, actually. But the shoulder here is out of view, but if it's in a stick figure, it would kind of... Nope, this is a bad example too, because if I lower the shoulder, it will also be out of view. I don't know. But a lot of times, that's where the area that you can't see is. Too low, but damn it, that sucked, because that was like a perfect freaking line. If I'm ever too desperate, there's obviously tools. Like if I'm taking way too long to get a line right, you got things like this. Ah, excuse you. Okay, good. I'm still recording. Sorry, it tends to not tell me when it stops recording, so you know. I have to keep an eye on it every once in a while. There we go. The ruler keeps the lines straight, so that is very helpful. Alright. And again, should see, yep. I am, however, gonna go ahead and undo. Lower this to where, as you can see, so I try to keep them in the center of their muscles that I'm trying to see. So in this case, nope, too much of it. In this case, you're gonna need about there. Why are you not? Oh. Again, might help if you're on the right layer. There you go. Oh no, okay. You still get a little. There we go. And y'all saw me lower it, and it didn't even look like it. Just like in the actual video, it doesn't look like that happens. So, yeah. Does he change a lot here? Yeah, he changes a ton here, so there's no copy pasting here. We're gonna have to redo it. And, there we go. There's a really good example of tracing what you can't see. I will put on the onion skin though, because it's still a good guide. Alright, yeah. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and trace it and then lower it, because it looks like his head is there. Or rather... then lower it to where it makes more sense. Looks like it's a little bit squished in there, because he's turned his head. So, yeah. Now, back to the line of action, which has definitely changed. But basically just kind of... Alright, so... might go center of gravity with this one? Yeah, I think center of gravity with this one. Mm-hmm. As much as it looks like this is going to be a major change, once you see it in motion, it's not actually as big as you think. And while I said I do keep trying to keep it to... Oh my god, words. I do try to keep it in the center. Sometimes the movement itself kind of feels like it goes into way past the muscles. That's totally on purpose. Like the hips, you know, it's not necessarily visually a big part of it from stick figure standpoint. Okay. Do you think there? Alright. This part's clear. What's not clear is if it's more of a curve or a sharp edge. I'm gonna guess sharp edge, though. Attempt at sharp edge gets the same result, so good. Alright. This one is very clearly a curve. There. And then, of course, the shoulders. Looks like it dips. So it's a very shallow C curve. Alright. Let's see. See, all it looks like is you still actually get that little twist of the hips. It does happen. Even though I didn't draw the hips. Okay. Definitely huge bow movement. Color pick. Looks like I can only hold one at a time for free, so we're gonna... I'm assuming that's like something that you get with paid. So, gonna color swap for brown, or color pick for brown, and use the swatch for green when we need it. I do realize I'm getting mumbly when I get quote-unquote serious, as Robin put it. So apologize for that. I will try to watch it. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Alright. The reason you do gesture first is because when you try to trace the thing, even if you're not doing what I'm doing, which is, you know, obviously using a reference of a very different body, it is because you think you see something and you don't. Like when we showed the hips a second ago. It's actually much easier for people to see super big details first, rather than the basic shape. Nope. There we go. That looks right. Ah, too fast. Oops. Somehow left some arrow there. That is why we check. Go. Let's try that again. Alright. And we'll put some flower effects, obviously, for when we get to that point. But for now, it's more important to get the shape. Boom. Alright, so we're in the middle of drawing. Going to this layer, I believe, for... yeah. Oh, shit. All that, and that was in the wrong place. That's annoying. The biggest problem with layers, as cool as they are, is that you actually have to, you know, keep freaking track of them. Because drawing on the wrong layer can cause issues later, like the fact that because it was underneath, if I make a change, I have to erase his grip. Obviously, I don't want to do that. Nope. I don't know. I don't think I should have changed the way I did it before. But maybe I could get it a more stable, quick do. I don't think that was correct. There we go. I've actually taken an archery lesson, and as a result, learned some very surprising things about it. Like the fact that it's actually much better for you not to remain stiff, because it actually makes you less accurate because it takes more work. So you're supposed to let it kind of wiggle a little, which really shocked me. But I'm like, oh yeah, no, I can do that. My lack of coordination can do that. But the way that they were training was actually you don't go for a target first. You go for a consistent aim of where you're at and find your grip first. Then, once you know how your body moves for it, like how your body naturally makes the same shot over and over, then you memorize and adjust that. I got pretty accurate towards the end of the lesson. It was about half an hour, something like that. But it was really cool to know that that's actually how that works. Because it's kind of like drawing. You assume it works one way, and then you actually start, and you're like, oh, this is almost exactly the opposite of what I thought. What do you mean you do not learn details first? But yeah, no. In actuality, that's the thing you gotta unlearn. So with archery, you gotta unlearn stiffness. Ta-da! Alright. Time for the ruler. Da-da-da-da-da. Was, however, only one lesson, so take what I say with a huge grain of salt. Him, on the other hand, yeah, definitely listen to, because he knows what the fuck he's doing. He's doing these tricks to test them out to be real, so he's very honest about what isn't possible. So yeah. And keeps history in there too. If I can just frickin' remember his name, I'll find him again on TikTok in a minute. If I don't find him by the end of this video because there's like no circle to the side, then I will put it in the description. Alright. There's also the letting go too. Was also surprising. Like I don't know why, but in my head, I had it in my head that you would kind of like your hand holding the little, I forget what it's called, the little swatch thing at the end would go with it, like throwing a dart or something. And no, that's what the string is for. Ooh, should I draw the string? I should probably draw the string, actually. Fuck. That's hard because I can barely see it. It's probably important that I do. Right? I'm on the right layer, right? Yeah, okay. I can't see it well enough, but I think it's a straight line here. I don't know if he's putting any pull on it is the problem. Right, he's putting a little bit of pull on it. I can see it now. Ah. Super thin. Super easy to get wrong here. Holy shit, where the fuck is it? Educated guess. Because I cannot see the bottom of the string here. Okay. Probably? No, it's most likely going to curve the exact same way. So... excuse you. Can I copy, maybe? Yes! Okay. In which case, there. And... Actually, nope. Alright, maybe not the exact same way, huh? There we go. There we go, that looks right. We got there eventually. Also, it might help if I start from the beginning. I thought I did, but apparently not. Wow, it's even harder to see here. Okay, I see a little bit here. Just a little here. Damn it. This is like completely disappears in the leaves and grass. Okay, I think it goes there. Alright, that's not too bad. Alright, third one. On the bright side, turning it to the darker tree makes it easier to see up there. There we go. I'm gonna turn the onion skin off. See if that'll help. Helped a little, but oof. Okay. Let's look at the feather thing. Okay. Alright. Let's see now. Alright, you can see very tiny pull. So it is there. Alright. On to this layer. Question is, does he move much? Yeah, he shifts more onto the center of gravity, so yeah, I do need to redraw. Wow, this is the longest I've been able to record. Okay, there we go. Then center of gravity, definitely. It's a little bit different, not very much. It is not nearly as sharp. Trying to get that through. There we go. Because we're almost straightening this leg a little. And as a result, this leg is more curved now. Very slight, but it is there. There we go. He's turned it a little like this. Okay. Much straighter arm. So it is no longer a C curve, it is a straight curve. Not you. You. Alright, box. Box. Straight curve. Easy to think it's a C curve still because of the muscles, but the point is basically the center line here of each movement. Okay. And we want to show that the grip here has actually loosened because he's in the middle of letting go. Actually, I want to sharpen that because it helps with how it looks here. Shadows are a little distracting, so it's kind of hard to tell. Just like the muscles are distracting, but I think that's the actual center. And then very much swoop. That should actually be a little higher, huh? Because it's a very angled swoop. There we go. Yeah, that's what it should look exactly. And then make sure I'm on the layer with the bow. Color swatch the bow. I'm so sorry this is so long, but at the same time, not, because I need to know what we're actually at in the recording length. Because I'm going to upload this to the cloud and then delete it, because I need to apparently for storage. It's been an issue lately, so yeah. The fact I'm able to record this long is testament to that. Boom, boom. Alright. Ooh. Very jagged. There we go. A little better. There we go. Gonna turn the onion skin off so that I can frickin' find the string. The damn invisible ass string. Thankfully, it shows very clearly across his arm. Let's see how that goes. Okay. I assume it's a little bit off. Okay, it's probably like that then. Maybe it's bending from the wind? Is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing. My practice was indoors, and one time. It is. My anxiety is bugging the crap out of me about not knowing his name either, so in a minute I'm gonna just straight up look for him. Ba-dump. Because I don't want to accidentally, forget to credit him at all. Like, obviously this is something go see his shit. That sounded insulting, actually. I mean, go see his cool stuff. Because right now, this is, like, the least... It's cool, but it's probably, like, the least cool thing that he does. As far as archery tricks. Though, it took a lot of freaking time. Sure. Oy. This would take 2 hours to decorate, so, kind of worth it, though. Well... There we go. But, yeah. And like I said, Rose is very showy. Luna is more what you typically think of in, like, D&D. Essentially very stealthy, acrobatic, tactical. More that than than someone who's stationary, essentially. She does not, however, have a horse, which I'm debating on fixing, but not anytime soon. Wee. Might have her ride the deer, but I'm like, that could encourage people to actually try to ride deers. I don't know about that. Okay. Yay, alright. I was a little worried the string would not look right, but it looks like it does. Alright. Now that I'm done there, I will go ahead and look for this poor man. Real quick.
I can't stand being neurodivergent is when everybody tries to.
What the heck is going on here? Archers in fantasy are shown shoot.
Excuse you. Really? Oh, I didn't even realize I had already resumed. Okay, well, David the Arrow Bard at Blumenech. There you go. So, there you go. That's who I'm using most of Luna's references for. Including her transformation, because this is too pretty. But I do think that, well, I want to see how long I can go. This is over an hour of me animating, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. I'll make a part 2, just so if you want to see the rest of this, you can. But I'm guessing this is probably boring a lot of people at this point. So I'm gonna stop, undo, upload, and delete it from my phone so that I still have the storage to record again.